So many years ago when I lived in Chicago, I remember so well when we'd go hang out in some part of Chicago and then we'd drive back home. We would go along this highway that on the right side would be Lake Michigan. It's called Skyline Drive. And so we'd drive along Skyline Drive. I'd sit in the back of the car and my dad would turn on smooth jazz. And it was just such a comforting memory. For some reason, when I became a teenager, I just stopped listening to smooth jazz. And then once I got to college and I started studying music theory, I further had a reason, a logical left brain reason to not listen to smooth jazz. Something along the lines of it wasn't too complex musically. Honestly, don't even remember all the reasons, but really such a important and comforting part of my childhood. The appeal of smooth jazz music. This year, I started learning more about therapy. I started learning more about mental health. And I started putting together a list of things that gave me comfort. What are things that gave you comfort? Memories, right? You want to have good memories to pull from. And I realized, man, smooth jazz music coupled with that memory of driving back home with Lake Michigan to my right side in a car and just having so much fun during the day. I can't even describe it. It's something I'm sure if you guys dig into parts of your childhood or maybe even just in the near past, you'll find something to give you that emotion. It's emotion of safety. It's emotion of joy, emotion of no worries. So what did I start doing? I started listening to smooth jazz again sometimes this year. And once I started listening to smooth jazz, I told myself, I said, why did I stop listening to smooth jazz? Just because a bunch of music snobs, which I'm sure I had a phase too once I started taking music theory, just because a bunch of music snobs said it wasn't too complex, whether harmonically or whatever, if something does something positive for you and it's not hurting other people, and most importantly, it's not hurting yourself, do it. So one of those like simple things that it took me this long to realize. So that's one of the things I started doing again. Sometimes maybe I'd be playing board games with my friends, or sometimes I just want to hang out and chill. I'll listen to smooth jazz music, and it still does it for me. It gives me good vibes. It's okay if it doesn't give other people good vibes. It gives me good vibes, right? So just something I wanted to share. I promised the viewer that I just do a quick one on mental health. So if you learned anything from this video, what things from your past might have given you comfort, might have given you something positive, and you sort of stopped doing or stopped thinking about? And can you bring it back into your life? I bet you it'll help you a lot. So think about something in the past. Maybe someone told you shouldn't do it, or someone made fun of you, or whatever, and then you didn't do it anymore. And maybe it was something that you might have been even passionate about. Like I wasn't passionate about smooth jazz. I just enjoyed the feeling it gave me. But maybe something passionate. What can you do to bring it back into your life somehow? Whether sometimes or many times, and see what it does. So that's a little mental health note for all you guys. Talk to you guys soon.